What would you do if you saw a homeless boy on the side of the road? Would you ever believe that one day the same boy would have the life of a billionaire who had everything? But just moments later, a shocking secret was revealed that left everyone speechless. Watch until the end because the story will touch your heart. It was a cold, rainy night. The streets were almost empty, strong winds were blowing, and people were rushing home as quickly. On the side of the road sat a 14-year-old homeless boy named Rehan. His clothes were old and torn, his face showed signs of exhaustion, and he did not had a proper meal in 2 days. He had no home, no family to support him, and no one more cared about him. Yet every single day, Rehan told himself one thing: one day my life will change. He never begged for money. Instead, he earned a few dollars by cleaning car windows or helping people cry their bags suddenly. A luxurious black car speed down the road. Just a few seconds later, crash. The car lost control and slammed into a tree on the side of the road. People gathered around in shock. Many stopped to record videos on their phones, but no one had the courage to go near the wrecked car. Only one person ran towards it: Rehan. He looked through the shattered window and saw a middle-aged man lying unconscious, covered in blood. Rehan pulled on the door with all his strength, but it would not open. Without thinking twice, he grabbed a large rock lying nearby and smashed the remaining glass with all his might. At that very moment, a speeding truck was racing toward the crashed car. Rehan had only a few seconds to act. Would he be able to save the stranger's life? How did the homeless boy save the billionaire's life? In the previous part, you saw Rehan discover a man trapped inside a luxury car after a triple accident while a speeding truck was heading straight towards them. Rehan did not waste a single second. He reached through the broken window and pulled on the door with all his strength, but it still would not open. The truck was getting closer every second. Rehan refused to give up. He quickly gave the man a seat belt and began pulling him out through the broken window. Just a few moments later, boom! The out-of-control truck slammed into the crashed car, and the front of the vehicle burst into flames. If Rehan had been just a few seconds later, the man would not have survived. Everyone watching was left in shock. Within minutes, an ambulance and the police arrived at the scene. The paramedics rushed the injured man to hospital for emergency treatment. Rehan quietly started walking away because he believed he had simply done the right thing. But a police officer stopped him. Son, what is your name? Rehan, he replied. Where do you live? Rehan lowered his head and softly answered, I do not have a home. I live on the street. Hearing those words brought tears to the officer's eyes. Meanwhile, at the hospital, doctor worked for several hours before finally saving the man's life. When he regained consciousness, the very first question he asked was, where is the boy who saved me? He was told that a homeless boy had risked his own life to rescue him. The injured man was no ordinary person. He was Mr. Danny Anderson, one of the country's most successful billionaire businessmen. The moment he heard Rehan's story, he said, find that boy for me. I do not care where he is, bring him to me. The police immediately began searching for Rehan, but no matter where they looked, Rehan was nowhere to be found. Where had Rehan disappeared to, and what emotional truth would be revealed when the billionaire finally met him. Find out in the final part of this unforgettable story. The homeless boy's life changed forever. The police searched for Rehan for several days, but no one knew where he was. A week later, a police officer finally found Rehan sitting under an old bridge. He was crying, people bags and doing small jobs just to earn enough money for food. The officer walked over to him and said, Rehan, someone wants to meet you. Rehan was confused. He could not imagine who would want to see a homeless boy like him. When he arrived at the hospital, he saw the same man whose life he had saved. It was the billionaire, Mr. Daniel Anderson. As soon as Mr. Anderson saw Rehan, he walked up to him, gave him a warm hug, and said, Son, you did not just save my life, you saved my children from losing their father. I will never forget what you did for me. Tears filled Rehan's eyes. He quietly replied, Sir, I only did what any human being should do. Everyone in the room was deeply moved by his words. Mr. Anderson asked Rehan about his life. Rehan explained that his parents had died in a tragic accident several years early. Since then, he had been living on the streets, surviving by doing small jobs because he had no family to support him. Hearing this broke Mr. Anderson's heart at that very moment. He made a life changing decision. He said, From today, you are not alone anymore. I will take responsibility for your future. I will give you the best home, the best education, and every opportunity you deserve. Rehan could not believe what he was hearing. In just a few moments, his entire life had changed. Years passed. Rehan studied with great dedication, graduated from a top university, and eventually became one of the most trusted directors in Mr. Anderson's company. But despite his success, he never forgot where he came from. He established a foundation for homeless children, providing them with free shelter, education, food, and hope for a better future. At the foundation opening ceremony, Rehan said something that touched everyone's heart. If I had ignored that man just because he was a stranger, my own life might never have changed. Never be afraid to help someone in need. One small act of kindness can change someone else's life, and sometimes it can change your own too. Moral of story: True wealth is not measured by money, but by kindness and character. A single act of kindness never goes to waste. It always comes back in way you could never imagine.